This is New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and we're looking at the head coach search as Ian Rapoport listed 4 names that all Giants fans should be keeping their eye on as potential next guys to replace Brian Daboll and be the head coach of this organization. Let's go to Indianapolis and their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, a name that is getting a lot of buzz right now, and a name that a lot of people are suggesting is actually the favorite to be the next head coach. This is his first year in Indianapolis as their defensive coordinator, and he is doing a really good job. That side of the ball is clicking for Indy. A lot of people probably remember the name for what he did as the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals from 2019 to 2024. He was also actually interviewed by Big Blue, Joe Schoen, conducting that interview back in 2022 to be their head coach when Schoen chose Brian Daboll, and he was a defensive back coach in 2018 with the Giants. He has connections to the organization. Local guy, grew up a Giants fan in Staten Island. Also, Dan Duggan kind of hinting that he thinks he could be a top candidate, saying he has worked for the organization, has friends in high places within the organization, and he was on the radar in 2022, has a strong connection to Joe Schoen. Joe hired the son of Mr. Lou Anarumo to be a scout on the staff. Schoen and Anarumo, they have ties as well, as Anarumo was with the Dolphins from 2012 to 2017. Schoen was there from 2008 to 2016, so they overlapped for quite some time. And Pat Leonard, who covers the New York Giants, said in his article that Lou Anarumo would have been the choice for Joe Schoen to replace Shane Bowen if the Giants had fired their current DC at the end of last season. You look at what he's done as a defensive coordinator in this league, 6 years with the Bengals, 1 year as an interim DC with the Miami Dolphins, but I want to focus in on Cincinnati here. The Bengals beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship back in January of 2022 with a final score of 27-24 in overtime, and that following year, the 2022 to 2023 season, they had a top 10 scoring defense in Cincinnati. There was the 6th best points defense as well. They've done the 8th difference in point differential as well. They took the football away. They were consistently ranked near the top in turnovers as well. And you could see this year, the Indianapolis Colts, their defense is doing a really good job as well. When it comes to Anarumo and the Giants, look, I don't hate the idea of him being the next head coach, but I'm just kind of tired of always hearing about when the Giants are hiring somebody, it's what connections do they have to the organization? How are they tied to this football team? Who do they know in the front office? Can we just go out and hire the best football coach that's going to win the most games for this team? That's why we were so excited about Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. The Giants finally stepped out of the box and stopped hiring from within, and they went outside the organization to get it done. And it inevitably didn't work with Brian Daboll. But we also know that it hasn't worked for a very, very long time when the New York Giants look back at the past organization and people that are there. Not saying Lou Anarumo won't work out. I would be pumped up about it. You get back to a defensive-minded field, but I don't think that where you grew up, who you grew up rooting for, and the ties you have to the organization should really matter all that much. We got 3 more names to talk about that Ian Rapoport mentioned as Giants head coach candidates. Before we do, though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers, trying to get that plaque from YouTube. We need your help. If you're not subscribed, change it. We put out multiple free videos every single day. Let's go to Antonio Pierce, the former head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, a guy that a lot of Giants fans love. I love him. One of the best tackles I've ever seen in the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers that kept the Giants' Super Bowl hopes alive. It didn't go too well for AP as the head man in Las Vegas. 9-17 before he was fired. Look, he was very liked inside that building by the players, especially when he was the interim head coach. Raiders players pushed for him to be hired. He is the ultimate players coach. Max Crosby multiple times talked to the front office and the owners, the Davis family of the Raiders, and said, look, I want to play for Antonio Pierce. I want him to be the head coach. We have a Raiders channel here at Chat Sports. It's one of our biggest channels, and I talked to my guy Mitchell Renz, and I said, look, what would you say about AP to Giants fans? He said, he's a good coach, just not a head coach. And to be honest with you, I have no interest in Antonio Pierce being the head coach for the New York Football Giants. I've been here at Chat Sports for going on 5 years now. January of 2021 is when I started, so I saw the whole Antonio Pierce thing unfold and fold in that Las Vegas front office when he was the head coach, and it was covered daily here at Chat Sports, and I would just stay away from that. Look, I love AP for what he did for the Giants as a player. I am not interested at all in him being the head coach. There was just some things that I had heard from inside the locker room as his tenure went on that make me say, I'm probably good on that. We're talking about the Giants filling a position of need when it comes to management, so we're going to continue to take a trip down memory lane. Ian Rapoport mentioned Steve Spagnuolo, a.k.a. Spags, former Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator 2 times for the New York Giants, the current defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, he's one of the best to ever call plays on the defensive side of the football. It actually got him a head coaching job with the Rams from 2009 to 2011, where he didn't do too well. Their team didn't do that well. He didn't really have that much to work with either. They went 10-38 over those years, and then he returned to the New York Giants and became their interim head coach in 2017 when they were 1-3. He was with the Giants in 2007 and 2008 as the defensive coordinator, and then he returned in 2015 and 2017. I put 5-time Super Bowl champ. He's actually a 4-time Super Bowl champ. Stupid Marsh on that. Look, he is loved inside the building. This organization loves him. There are people in positions of power that really love the idea of him returning to the organization, and I believe he will get an interview with the New York Giants. I'm just not so sure that he should be the head coach or would want to be the head coach. He's got a great job right now. You're the DC for Patrick Mahomes' football team. You've been to the Super Bowl, I think, 5 times with the Kansas City Chiefs. You're always in the big game. But if you've got that itch to get back to being a head coach, I'd bring him in as an interview, and I got to hear what he has planned for his offensive coordinator and what he's going to do there, because that's really important to me. I'm trying to get a guy that can maximize Jaxson Dart or has a plan to do so. So I'm not shutting the door on Spags. I guess it's just I want to see what his plan is, and there's still other doors I want to walk through and open up to see if those guys could be the people to lead the Giants to trophy number 5. We got one more candidate to talk about, but I want to let you know that Jaxson Dart jerseys are selling quick, and if you want to make sure you get it for the holiday season, I think you got to get it now at chatsports.com/dart, at chatsports.com/dart. Mike Kafka is the last name that Ian Rapoport mentioned as a Giants head coach candidate, and you know what? I don't think we've given the proper energy towards this discussion. Look, if the New York Giants go out and play good football over the next 7 games, I absolutely could see Kafka having that interim tag removed and he becomes the next head coach of the Giants. We've heard John Mara talk about we've done everything to screw this kid up when talking about Daniel Jones and the consistent change around a young quarterback. He can kind of make himself feel a little bit better by saying, well, yeah, we're moving on from Daboll, but we're keeping the same offensive coordinator that Jaxson Dart had in his rookie year. And that could also maybe make him more appealing. I mean, Dart has played well with the New York Giants, and I think Kafka deserves a lot of credit for that, and I'm sure that the Giants could talk themselves into that. I'll say this. You get a 7-game tryout. You get a opportunity that nobody else is going to get. You get to show Giants fans, Giants leadership, and Giants ownership what a football team could look like under you. Unfortunately, the Giants are a wounded deer right now and extremely injured, and Jameis Winston's actually going to be the starting quarterback, the first decision Mike Kafka has made. But you have an opportunity to at least show some signs that you could turn this around, you know how to win football games, and that there's been continuity if you stay and you can get the most out of Jaxson Dart. I don't think it's crazy to think that Mike Kafka is the head coach next year. My question to you is this before we bounce out of here. Who do you want the New York Giants to hire? Give me a name down in the comment section below. And make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG at @MarshallGreen_.